Lucy Allen sucks. That's all that I really have to say about Hollyoaks. It's official. No more chances for Lucy Allen. She has destroyed Hollyoaks, which was once my favorite British soap opera, has been destroyed by Lucy Allen and her horrible ways. I've been talking about it for months now, and frankly, Hollyoaks should probably be lower in these rankings, but there's so much bad writing on so many of the soaps right now that all of the bottom soaps are bad. But Hollyoaks is just as bad as the bottom four because both the writing and the producing is all over the place. This once was a show that there was a lot to talk about because it was at least exciting, or you get really into the storylines, but not under Lucy Allen. She is trying her hardest to make Hollyoaks as bad as some of these American soap operas. And Hollyoaks has always had a touch of being the most similar to the American soap operas because it can be very over the top. But once upon a time, Hollyoaks moved fast and had a bunch of messy storylines. Hollyoaks also always pushes the envelope, with social issues. But now I feel like Hollyoaks is trying to tell too many social issues, and they're telling too many because they write them so poorly. You can't have a bunch of poorly written social issue stories going on. I'm not happy with anything going on right now. I've lost interest in some of the things I did like Imran and Serena. More characters like Ollie continue to leave. I did enjoy Ollie's goodbye with a touch of history to Brooke. And then they also go and kill off a semi-new character in Saul, tied to this absolutely ridiculously bad joke of a story. The writing for this bullying story is so weak, and a lot of the characters are being written as dumb and weak, and anybody that has watched any of my soap opera videos talking about cartoon villains, I hate cartoon villains, and I don't even know if Joseph is a cartoon villain, but he's like this teenager who is outsmarting all the adults. What is it with soap operas right now where they keep writing teenagers being smarter than adults? It's so dumb. It's such bad writing. DeMarcus is being bullied by Joseph because he's so jealous about his relationship with Vicky. And it's hard to care because both Joseph and Vicky are such new characters. One of the biggest issues with Lucy Allen's Hollyoaks is all of these new characters we don't care about. I certainly don't anyway. So DeMarcus has a knife to protect himself from all the bullying going on. I don't even understand how they managed to write DeMarcus so weak. I don't think it even fits the character, but okay. Joseph ends up getting into it with Saul, who's a cop, but somehow Joseph gets the knife and stabs Saul. Saul ends up dying, and Joseph is able to set up DeMarcus for the murder, set up the ring that Saul was going to propose to Grace in the garage that Warren and Felix own. I don't know how Joseph was able to get the evidence in there. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me because Warren's out of town, presumed dead, and they didn't get Felix's stuff. I don't know. The story, the writing is so bad. They want to tell like a social issue with the black people and the police, but all they're actually doing on Hollyoaks is weakening all of their black characters. Their black characters once killed off here in Saul. DeMarcus is written as weak. Felix is kind of written as not being able to do anything. And just last year I was able to praise Hollyoaks for having a strong, developed black characters, but Lucy Allen's wreaked havoc on all of them. Most of them have left town. We get new ones like Vicky, but she's such a new character and hard to care about. So, yeah, the story's a mess, just like everything else on this show. Allie getting off, coming out, getting his job back at the hospital, and then Serena's out with her sisters and ends up falling and hurting herself, and Ollie calls a surgery against hospital orders, and the surgery goes wrong, and Serena, now her athletic career looks over. I didn't really like this either. Like, I didn't understand why we needed Ollie to get off. They could have told a good social story with Ollie going down for raping Mizbah in the past, but no, we have to keep him around for a poorly told story here. I mean, at least I guess they connected some storylines. They connected the Serena stuff to the Ollie stuff, two completely different storylines. I don't know if they did it well. Maxie is kind of responsible for goading Serena into messing around when they were drinking. So Lizzie slams Maxie, and they want Maxie to stay away from her father's side of the family. We're still getting a lot of up and down with John Paul's sobriety, but I'm having less and less care for that as well because of the overall writing of the show. Same goes for Olivia, who's been trying to blackmail the McQueens. The McQueens onto it, though. I have not watched the last few episodes of July of Hollyoaks, so I have not seen how the last few episodes play out for July, but everything I've seen from July, poorly written. The show, I've been saying this so long now, it seems I've been saying this all year. The show lacks focus. There's too many new characters. All of the storylines just kind of, they feel thrown together to me. Do they not feel thrown together to anybody watching this video? Like, the writing is extremely plot driven, and Hollyoaks has always had a good chunk of plot driven storylines, let's be honest. But because we have a bunch of characters we don't care about because they're new, and because a lot of the characters are kind of being written out of character, it's not working for me. It's not working for me at all. Sienna got a confession out of Warren. One of the only stories that at least was watchable to me. Sienna got a confession that Warren ran down and killed Brody. And Sienna's been plotting his downfall, kind of wanting him to die, be out of their children's lives. And during this confrontation, Warren, of course, brings it right back to Serena's inner face, and Damon's there, ends up hitting him over the head. They leave him for dead, think he's dead. Of course he's not. Somebody finds Warren. From what I've seen in July, I did not watch the last few episodes, we do not know who found Warren, but he is still alive. I have a mixed feeling on that. I've always loved to hate Warren. He's been a great villain at times, although in the past few years he's just redundant. So I had mixed feelings if they were going to kill him off or not. I felt like because we've lost so many other characters here lately, killing off Warren would have been a mistake, so I'm glad they didn't actually kill him off. Overall, I just find the show teetering on the edge of being unwatchable. And I have Emmerdale and General Hospital at the bottom of my rankings because they're boring, and I find boring to be the worst offense because it's just a lot of fast forward material. But when the writing is also unwatchable, it could be classified as the worst for me as well. So Hollyoaks on the edge of being the worst soap opera in my rankings. I have a lot of love for this show overall, but I have a lot of love for Days of Our Lives too, and that's been in last place in my rankings. It was last place in my rankings for many months because it was unwatchable. It wasn't quite boring, but it was certainly unwatchable, and I'm getting to that same point with Hollyoaks. One of the only things I guess I do like kind of as a positive is the storyline with Nadira, and she's supposed to be marrying Shaq, but Nadira is into Juliet, doesn't want to come out to her family as gay. One of the only new characters working for me is Nadira, but it didn't get enough time in July. And so overall, I think Lucy Allen has done a terrible job with Hollyoaks. I hope this is a very short run for her because a lot of the stories are redundant. A lot of these new characters are not working. A lot of the stories are taking forever to play out, and they're not exciting enough for this to happen, which is too similar to modern American soap operas for my taste. I have no faith anymore that she will get it together. I think Lucy Allen has proven she is inept for this job. She's not doing a good job. And yeah, Hollyoaks continues to sink in my rankings because of this. Should honestly be lower, but there's a lot of bad soap operas right now in July. But Hollyoaks gets 8th place in my rankings. Very close to falling to very last place going forward, because it is almost unwatchable to me because the writing is so bad.